Hi, welcome to a new video. This week's video follows on from last week's video. Last week we talked about the 180-degree rule. This week we're talking about flow and how we can use it and how we can understand it. So if you remember last week, I set you guys a bit of homework. And unfortunately, no one did it. Got no responses, no replies, no nothing. So I'm going to say, very disappointed in you. But never mind, we'll carry on. If you remember, I said we wanted to draw a shot of someone going to work, a long shot, an establishing shot, someone leaving their house going to work. I didn't tell you what size panel to draw, how big it was, I didn't tell you anything. But I assumed that you'd have a rectangle, that would be your panel. I didn't tell you where to put the house, but I'm guessing most of you, if you drew it, will draw it on the left hand side. I didn't tell you where to draw the factory. I suspect that most of you draw the factory on the right hand side, which means that the arrow going to and from work is going from left to right. Now, why is that? Well, I did a search on Google for 2D walk cycles. Let's take a look at this. This is from the side a walk cycle done in 2D animation. Lots of people have done it, and there's no lots of people have done it, and people can animate the walk cycle going from left to right or right to left. So theoretically, I would have hoped that during these first 14 results, it'd be 50-50 split between going left to right and right to left. But the vast majority of thumbnails here and examples are all going from left to right, and I think that's because of reading order, which is tangentially related to today's subject, comic flow. Yes, we're back on topic. So what's comic flow? Well, it's a way to describe and think about a reader's experience of navigating a page. It covers reading order and how the eye travels across the page. Here's a page, and generally in Europe we are going to be reading from left to right, top to bottom. So on a page of text, we start at the top left and we scan our eyes along the line of text, reading and understanding as we go. And you reach the line, and the line we dart our eyes back to the next line down, and we start again, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. So we've got this distinctive Z-shaped path that eyes take when reading text. Well, it can happen in a comic as well. So a bit of terminology. I don't know if you are comic makers who are watching this. I don't know if you have any interest or have made comics. I hope you have. But so, well, the basic components of a comic page is a panel. That's usually a rectangle or a square. It holds a drawing, and then next to it is another drawing. But there's a gap between the drawings, and we call that a gutter. And we like to arrange panels in a row horizontally, and we call that a tier. So here's an interesting problem. Knowing that we go from left to right, top to bottom, how do we navigate this page? Do we go 1, 2, 3? Or do we go 1, 2, 3? The layout of the page doesn't help us. We could theoretically go either way because we haven't got a tier. We're not reading across. It's sort of broken. It's stopped, and this is this will affect the flow of you reading the page, and it also leads to ambiguity. We don't want that. We want very clear directions so the user knows where to go to next. Okay, let's take a look at some comic pages. Basically, I went on the internet and I found some comic pages. This is a Spider-Man comic page. I'm not sure what it is, but if I was guessing, I'd say it's probably a McFarlane page. This page reads fine. We read across the top tier. We go from panel to panel to panel. When we're ready, we zip across and then back down. We go our Z. This is straightforward and it's a really easy to read panel. But what helps it is this section here. If you see my mouse pointer, it means that we're looking at this panel first and then we're looking at these panels. This helps to sort of bring the eye across to these next panels. Okay. Next example. I'm not sure what comic this is from either, but let's take a look at it. It's a very vertical layout. Lots of panels sort of seemingly stacked on each other. So we're almost going down the page, but we're still going to read across. I'm still going to dart across the top panel, and we're going to obviously double back, and we'll go again, and we eye is drawn to the sound effect and to the rabbit running away from a shot. And then we'll navigate this panel, and the speech balloons will help us sort of navigate across this panel, and then we sort of dot back down again. We've got he's looking in this direction. We've got a speech balloon here, and then we have, I'm assuming it's our protagonist here on the motorbike, looking awesome. I said awful. No, he looks really badass. And we're going. She's looking in this direction, sort of this way, and it's a good close up here. We go to a close up, and we see this speech balloon here. So again, we've got this Z formation for this page. Bump, 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 bump. All right, next page. Okay, now this is from 2000 AD, and I don't know the story. Again, I just found this page at random, but it's interesting to talk about this page. Let's see what we've got going on. It's a page of two halves. This top half, easy to read. We've got a single panel, this establishing shot, and then we have two panels here. So we're using our diagonal, this is falling diagonally. We've got our eye is drawn to the text, and then we reach the end and we read this across, and that's great. Here's where we hit the problem. How do we read this? Do we read this panel, this text, this panel, then back down to this panel, this text, and then this text, and then across like this? How do we read it? Well, luckily, the artist and the letters have collaborated, and they've really sort of put together a way to ease navigation, and they've done it with this dialogue here. All the dialogue has ellipses, so we're reading this, and it's one continuous take. This is a person on TV talking. So this is a bit like a cutaway. I suppose it'd be a bit like the sort of adverts that you'd see in RoboCop or that sort of thing. They cut away to an advert and someone says they'll buy something for $1. So we're reading all the way down this column here, and then we've got nowhere to go at this point. We have to sort of look up a bit, and there's some dialogue and a bit more narration, and another piece of dialogue here, which brings us sort of in an arc to this last section, this last piece of dialogue. Okay, this is a page, and this is a very confusing looking page, sort of. This is Hawkeye. I think it's Matt Fraction. I can't remember the artist. Again, as I said before, these are literally just, I've went and looked for interesting comic pages to sort of look at. But let's take a look at this top tier. We've got some water, we've got some bullets, a spiral, and people, I think, are being shot. Do we read it like this? Do we read it like this? Do we just treat this as one object or that as one object? What about when we get to here? Do we go down and up and across, or down, up, down? Do we go across, down, and up? What happens then? Do we have to sort of go here, down, and across, and then? It's potentially confusing, but I think we can pick some meaning from this, and I think it's these two red panels here. These two panels of what we've got 9. these are events happening on the surface of the water. That's why there's no sound effects, because these guys won't be hearing it, because sound doesn't you can't hear things on the water because there's water in the way. But let's take a look at these remaining panels. Suddenly this makes a lot more sense. This is the surface of the water, and this is a pool. These two characters are diving into the pool, and I'm assuming it's Hawkeye. We got some internal narration, some internal dialogue saying, oh, don't die. And so these are almost like cutaways in a film, but this is the main action. This is the main driving force, and look what it's doing. It's driving us from the top all the way down to the bottom. That's quite a clever piece of sort of layout there. At first, I think it's a very confusing layout, but I think this really sort of narrows it down and sort of helps with stuff. Yeah. So that's it. This is a really short video talking about comic flow. The idea of getting eyes from the top of the page to the bottom of the page in a way that makes sense, and we're using reading order, and we're using the fact that we read from left to right, top to bottom. We're using these bits of information to sort of guide the eye around the page. That's it for this week. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you found this video interesting, please like, comment, share, subscribe. I'd be interested to hear what people think about that. Is it something you've thought about in your own comics? Is it something that you want to think about now? Do you think I'm wrong? Let me know. Let's have a discussion about flow in books, in comics, and see if we can't come up with some great examples of flow, and some not so great examples of flow. Confusing pages, and there are some knocking about. Yeah. So next video, I'm not sure what we're going to do, but we're probably going to be doing a bit of lettering, possibly. All right. So take care, everyone. I'll see you all later. Take care. All right. Bye now.